Hi guys, my name is Adam Foch and welcome to Israel. I lived in Israel since 1997, married, and I have 4 kids, and we actually live in a village right up the road. But what I want to tell you about today is actually a village right down the road. And this is a village that 2,000 years ago was a Jewish village called Emmaus. So you guessed right, we're standing on the road to Emmaus. And right behind me, there are 8 Roman mile markers which mark the way from Jerusalem to Emmaus. And every time there was an emperor change, they would put up their marker so that he would have his name on it, marking the road to Emmaus. Now, these are in pretty bad shape. There's one, which I'll show you in a minute, where you can still see the Latin inscription, but the rest you really can't make out the inscription. Some of them you see here in front have been toppled over. And actually, just to give you an idea of what this site looks like right now, I want to show you some other animals that have visited here recently, if you can see that. So it's not really the most visited site by humans or tourists, but it's very important. And I also want to step to the side here, and I want to read to you from Luke chapter 24. Now, to remind you of the story of the road to Emmaus, Jesus has already appeared to some of the women and some of the disciples in Jerusalem. So we pick up on verse 13 in Luke 24. Now that same day, two of the disciples, were going to a village called Emmaus, about 7 miles from Jerusalem. They were talking with each other about everything that had happened. And as they talked and discussed these things with each other, Jesus himself came up and walked along with them, but they were kept from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing together as you walk along?" They stood still, their faces downcast. And you can imagine this. These are disciples. They weren't 2 of the 12, but they had left everything they had to follow Jesus. And now Jesus is crucified and they're going home because that's probably all they have left. Verse 18, one of them, named Cleopas, asked him, "Are you only a visitor to Jerusalem and do not know the things that have happened there in these days?" "What things?" he asked. "About Jesus of Nazareth," they replied. "He was a prophet, powerful in word and deed before God and all the people. The chief priests and our rulers handed him over to be sentenced to death, and they crucified him. But we had hoped that he was the one who was going to redeem Israel. And what is more, it is the 3rd day since all this took place. In addition, some of our women amazed us. They went to the tomb early this morning, but didn't find his body. They came and told us that they had seen a vision of angels who said he was alive. Then some of our companions went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but him they did not see." He said to them, Jesus said to those disciples, "How foolish you are, and how slow of heart to believe all that the prophets have spoken. Did not the Christ, the Messiah, have to suffer these things and then enter his glory?" And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he explained to them what was said in all the scriptures concerning himself. So he explained all the messianic prophecies about himself. That's a lesson I would have really liked to have been at. 28. As they approached the village to which they were going, Jesus acted as if he was going further. But they urged him strongly, "Stay with us, for it is nearly evening. The day is almost over." So he went to stay with them. When he was at the table with them, he took bread, gave thanks, broke it, and began to give it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, and he disappeared from their sight. They asked each other, "Were not our hearts burning with us while he talked with us on the road and opened the scriptures to us?" They got up and returned at once to Jerusalem. There they found the 11 and those with them assembled together, saying, "It is true, the Lord has risen and has appeared to Simon." Then the 2 told what had happened to them on the way and how Jesus was recognized by them when he broke the bread. And if we continue reading, we see about Jesus appearing to the rest of the disciples and then the ascension. So, thank you for being with me today. I hope that just from this short thing, you've realized why it might be worthwhile for you to come to Israel. You know, Israel just isn't another vacation to London or to Paris or someplace. When you come to Israel, you're coming to see where the scripture meets the road, if you will, literally in this place. And it's going to deepen your faith, and you're going to understand the scripture in a new way. I promise you that. And we want to see you here. As soon as the government starts letting tourists back in the country, we'd love to have you come visit us. And I'd love to come and show you this place and many, many other places in this country. Okay, so here is the Roman milestone I wanted to show you. It still has the Latin inscription on it. And this milestone dates back to about 235 to 238, about a little bit over 200 years after Jesus was crucified. And it marks the 14th mile from Jerusalem going towards Emmaus. And this is what the translation of the Latin inscription says. It says, "To the Emperor Caesar Julius Verus Maximianus the Pious, the Fortunate, Augustus, and to Gaius Julius Verus Maximus, Caesar of Maximinus Augustus, the Invincible, the Pious, the Fortunate."